Hey, how are you doing today? My name is Cameron Barnes. I am a student at Alabama State University studying rehab services. And this is my senior year, and I'm doing an assistive tech universal design PowerPoint to go over for Dr. Joseph class. So, like I said, universal design by Cameron Barnes. Of course, today's date and assistive tech and resource. So, the character of the day. This is Stephen. Stephen is a 25-year-old college student at Texas Tech University. Him and his colleagues are studying more about universal designs. So, what is a universal design, you might ask? Right? A definition of an educational approach that aims to create learning environments that are accessible to all students regardless of their abilities or backgrounds. Important to ensure that every student has equal opportunity to succeed in their academic endeavors. Right? So we're gonna have a quick little short video that you can watch about these universal abilities.
Universal Design for Learning, or UDL, is an educational framework that guides the development of flexible learning environments and learning spaces that can accommodate individual learning differences. It is based on the principle that educational environments and products should be usable by everyone to the greatest extent possible, without the need for adaptation or specialized design. Let's look at the key features of universal design for learning. One key feature is the provision of multiple means of representation. This principle addresses the what of learning, suggesting that information should be presented in different formats so that all students can access and understand the content. For example, text might be supplemented with audio, video, and hands-on activities, ensuring that learning is accessible to students with various sensory and cognitive abilities. Another key feature is the provision of multiple means of action and expression. This aspect of UDL focuses on the how of learning, offering students various ways to demonstrate their knowledge and skills. This could include traditional tests, oral presentations, video projects, or interactive simulations, allowing students to choose the method that best reflects their strengths and learning styles.
And as we talk about that last key point, and those 4 different methods of learning, that can also apply to something I said earlier in my PowerPoint from earlier today about educational malpractice and how everybody does not learn the same, or everybody's not able to take notes the same. Educational malpractice is when one person speaks in front of a bunch of students and expect them all to learn the exact same way and get the same exact outcome, and that's just not how today's society works.
Feature of UDL is the provision of multiple means of engagement. This principle addresses the why of learning, emphasizing the importance of motivating students by offering choices in how they engage with material. Educators are encouraged to create learning activities that are relevant and challenging, and that accommodate students' interests and goals, helping to foster a deeper connection to the content. Let's explore the benefits of universal design for learning. One of the benefits is that it promotes inclusivity in the classroom. By designing lessons and assessments with various learning styles and abilities in mind, all students have an equal opportunity to succeed. This can be particularly beneficial in diverse classrooms where students' abilities and backgrounds may vary widely. Another benefit is that it encourages the development of flexible learning skills, which are crucial for success in a rapidly changing world. Students learn to adapt to different learning environments and conditions, enhancing their ability to function in different contexts and with different sets of tools and technologies. However, UDL also faces some limitations. Implementing UDL can be resource intensive. Educators may need significant training to effectively apply its principles, and schools may need to acquire new technologies or materials to accommodate diverse learning methods. This can be a barrier, particularly in underfunded or rural areas. Another limitation is the potential for overwhelming choice. While providing multiple options for learning and expression can be empowering, it can also be confusing for some students who may struggle with decision-making or who prefer more structured learning environments. This can sometimes lead to decreased learning outcomes if not carefully managed. If you're a university student, I recommend reading the article
There we are. So yes, so just a little bit about that video at the ending part. So now we talk about how the students are going to adapt, but we also got to talk about how the teachers had to adapt, especially when they have never had to deal with certain technologies that they learned back when they were younger. So let's dive in, right? So as Stephen speaks on universal design, it is all about creating a learning environment that is accessible and beneficial for every student regardless of their abilities or backgrounds. Today I want to explore how we can more widely accept and employ universal design features in our classrooms. So benefits of universal designs, right? So improve accessibility, creates an inclusive environment where all students can participate, enhance engagement. Students are more likely to engage with materials that are tailored to their learning preferences, reduce the need for individual accommodations by designing with all learners in mind. The need for separate accommodations decreases, right? So current acceptance on universal design. Growing awareness, many schools are beginning to recognize the importance of universal design. Successful implementations, examples for educational institutions show positive impacts on students' learning and engagement. So just a quick overview for the last few slides that we did have to talk about. So far we went over the universal design as a method to create accessible learning environments for all students, and it highlights benefits such as improved accessibility, increased student engagement, and decreased need for individual accommodations. Additionally, it notes a growing awareness and successful application of universal design in schools, showing positive effects on students and their learning. But let's continue as we dive in. Right, so some barriers on universal designs. So this is some more of the negative feedback that universal designs that do create. A lot of times they can create a lack of awareness, right? So many educators and administrators may not be familiar with universal design principles. Maybe a resistance to change, so being adaptable, right? Traditional teaching methods are often deeply ingrained, making educators hesitant to adopt new strategies. Right, so we got some resource constraints. Right, limited funding and materials can hinder the implementation of universal design features, and then some training gaps. Right, so as we talk about how the teachers and how we talk about the students it's a big age gap in there. So everything that we teach or everything teachers can teach to younger kids, they're not going to learn the exact same things. So now, as well as the students are trying to learn, the teachers are trying to learn to adapt to the students as they try to grow up and we try to teach them. Right? So that's something that you can always learn right there as well. Educators may lack proper training on how to effectively apply universal designs in their own classrooms. It's like, how can you teach a student something about something you've never learned before, right? You're going to be learning that at the exact same time the student is learning that, right? So solutions to overcome the barriers, right? So some increasing the awareness, right? Let it be known. Conduct professional development workshops focused on universal design principles and their benefits. Building supportive cultures, encouraging collaboration among teachers to share successful strategies and foster a community of practice. Leveraging resources. Seek grants and partnerships to secure funding for universal design tools and technologies. And then providing comprehensive training. Offer ongoing training and support for educators to help them understand and implement universal designs effectively. So some real world examples of universal design. Flexible learning spaces. Classrooms designed to accommodate various learning styles through adjustable seating and collaborative areas. Digital tools. Use of technology like learning management systems that provide materials in multiple formats, text, audio, video, etc., anything in that nature. Inclusive curriculum. Curriculum that incorporates diverse perspectives and learning methods to engage for all students. So the importance of supporting all students, right? Equity in education. Universal design promotes equity by ensuring that all students, including those with disabilities, have access to high quality education. As we intensify to all students, especially the ones who have those with disabilities, right? So we're not going to count them out as well. Fostering independence by employing universal design features, we empower students to take ownership of their own learning. But this somehow can cause a little bit of anxiety for the students as well. So that's something we have to watch out for. Lastly, like I said earlier in the PowerPoint, me and Stephen said this. Universal design focuses on making environment accessible for everyone to encourage its wider acceptance. We can take several practical steps and educating designers and the public about its benefits. Through training and awareness campaigns is crucial. Incorporating the universal designs into building codes and offering financial incentives, we can motivate business to adopt these principles. While barriers like lack of awareness and perceived costs exist, we can tackle these by providing educational resources, financial support, and showcasing successful projects that highlight the real-world benefits in the UD, the Universal Design. Additionally, engaging communities in the design process and integrating UD concepts and educational programs can help foster a culture that values inclusively for all. Excuse me. In conclusion, summary key points. Universal design is essential for creating inclusive educational environments. By addressing barriers and implementing solutions, we can make universal designs a standard and practice in our classrooms. And just some calls to action. Encourage educators to embrace universal design principles and collaborate to enhance accessibility for all students. And this will conclude my presentation. Dr. Joseph, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to improve my grade.